Welcome to Raise the Anchor with host Melissa Burbridge. In this podcast, I will share the stories of individuals who have made major life-changing decisions. The purpose of this podcast is to tell their stories and inspire change within. Stick around and share their journey with me. All right, today on our podcast, we have Kerra Aucoin Mansfield from KA Social Media. She's a social media expert and mentor of mine. Welcome to the podcast, Kerra.
Thanks for having me, Melissa.
Yeah, you've been mentoring me a little bit for a few months now. It's kind of nice, and your Monday calls are wonderful. They're a great networking thing.
Thank you. That's something that I just kind of did, and people kind of have been thanking me for it. And I'm like, don't thank me. I'm doing it for myself. So it's a way that I'm a very social person. So I don't want to say stuck at home because I haven't been stuck at home. I've been safely at home, but being at home and not having the networking events and stuff was big for me. So I just decided to create something that fit in my schedule because, again, that's when my husband was home and my daughter was home. So kind of fit my schedule, and it's a great way to start the week. It's a nice way to get motivated, to talk to other like-minded people and business people, and to see what's happening in everybody's world and how we can help each other out, because we needed to help each other out to make us survive in today's day and age.
What do you do before helping others with their social media?
So I have a marketing and an HR degree that I graduated from St. Mary's in 2006. So think of it, that's when Facebook actually became a thing. So that's when I graduated university. So my industry didn't exist when I graduated university. So think of that if there's any young millennials that are listening to this. But with my degree, I worked for a few bigger companies. So I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, worked for PepsiCo Canada. And then the last, I guess, company that I worked for before I went on my own was MetroGuide Publishing. So MetroGuide Publishing creates different magazines in town, and I was doing advertising sales. So I really saw the potential when I was talking to advertisers, how much social media could impact them and how much they could reach their new potential compared to a magazine ad or a radio ad or the traditional marketing that's always been there.
So what made you leave that world?
So I was actually replacing 2 maternity leaves. So I was there for about 20 months, and I really, really saw the potential. So I was the salesperson that hated picking up the phone, which is kind of crazy to think because I take the phone now to text and to interact with people, but I hated doing cold calling. It is still the thing that I hate the most. So whenever I go into a meeting or whenever I talk to somebody, they're like, oh, like it was great. I was talking to you online. Like we had a conversation on Twitter or we had a conversation on Facebook. And that made the conversation so much easier because we had a prior relationship. So I really saw the potential of social media. And then when I left, or when, again, my term was over, I knew that social media was going to be part of my life to some capacity. So I applied for a few roles that, I had social media manager, social media to some capacity. Then unfortunately I had a health scare that really made me realize what I wanted to do with my life. And then I went on my own in September 2014.
Were you scared to start a firm on your own?
Yes and no, because again, after you have a massive health scare and that you are told at your age of 30 that you may have cancer, a lot of things don't really matter at that point, and you're just grateful to be alive and you really want to do what you want to do. So I did the SEB program, which is Self-Employment Benefits Program through the government, where the government will pay you to start your own business. So I did that. So it wasn't as scary because I had that funding and that support behind me. So it's 40 weeks and you have a team behind you to connect you with the different people that you need to for funding or for just mentoring and all that information. So for me, it wasn't too bad. And then when I said, I have a marketing and an HR degree, my sister's an accountant, my husband's in finance. So I had a lot of those big questions and big people in mind. I met a lawyer very earlier on in my career that became a client. So I have a lot of resources that I can definitely use if I have questions. So it wasn't as scary as it could be. And I went into it being like, that's cool. I'm going to do this for 8 months. So for 40 weeks, if it works, amazing. If it doesn't work in 40 weeks, I go look for a job. And thankfully I haven't looked back.
So I guess you probably didn't ever question your decision.
No, because at that point, so when you think back to September 2014, a lot of businesses were definitely realizing that they needed social media in their businesses. And there wasn't that many people doing social media as a business. It was at the time where companies were like, oh, hey, I need to be on Facebook. Hey, desk person or front desk, can you just like throw something on Facebook? And they didn't really know what they were doing. So there was a lot of demand for it. And I know there was a few of us that were starting, but definitely not as much as there is now. So I wasn't scared because I wasn't scared and I wasn't, questioning my decision because there was a lot of demand for it. And very early on, I went to a networking event and was asked, do you do training? I know that I need to be on social media, but I'm not sure how to do it. You seem to know what you're doing. Can you train me? So from day one, like my bread and butter and my thoughts were to do social media management, that I would take it over. And I never even thought to do training until somebody asked me. And I was like, yeah, I can probably do that. And that is a big part of my business now, is doing training and coaching and consulting, that I may never have thought of it if somebody hadn't asked for my expertise.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you wouldn't have thought about because, like you said, in 2006, Facebook, I don't even think I joined Facebook until 2008. I was resistant to social media now. Look at me.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. Like I actually went to speak to a class at St. Mary's in 2016. One of my friends was a teacher there and asked me to come in to speak. And I looked at the students and I was like, I graduated in 2006. My industry didn't exist. So who's to say that when you graduate, so that was 10 years after I graduated from St. Mary's, I was in a whole new career. Yes, I'm using my marketing degree because social media marketing, it's a lot of the same tactics, a lot of the same tactics and a lot of the same things that you would do in traditional marketing, but it's different platforms. So I just told them, like, keep your mind open and keep your mind open, keep your options open, and never say no to your dream or to think what it is, because you might not even know what your dream and what your career is. Because 10 years ago, or I guess now 15 years ago, the world of blogging and influencing and social media managers and social media gurus and experts and that kind of stuff, like an Instagram superstar, that didn't exist.
No. Or these TikTok queens that are going around now.
Yeah, that's not me, but that it does exist. And even I will use the example, which is hilarious, but my daughter's 2.5. She is obsessed with Blippi and with Ryan's toy review. Both of those have started on YouTube. Like, I would love to have their bank account. And right now I'm like, okay, what do I start with my daughter who's 2.5, who loves being on camera, that we can be making these millions, because they've done this just from YouTube. That didn't exist 10, 15 years ago.
So because social media is so new and it's ever changing, what keeps you going as things continue to change?
So the thing that keeps me going for sure is being able to see the success in small businesses and see what social media can do for them. Because what used to be was word of mouth, aka if you had a storefront, that whoever walked in, that was your clientele, and maybe they would tell their mom, their dad, their best friend, their sister. Now it's word of mouth. So the potential is crazy, and everything that's happened with COVID has even made it more crazier, in the sense that the potential, you never knew the potential you had. Businesses are like, oh no, I'm a storefront. Like I'm not going to sell online. I don't have a clientele outside of HRM or outside of Cape Breton or wherever they're at. But now they've realized that they can sell so much more to different people because of the internet. One example, and I feel that you know her, Crystal Richard from Sandy Toes in Moncton, like her big apparel line all last summer was at farmers markets. And she sold a bit online and, to her friends and stuff. Like whenever I saw Crystal, I would always buy something. But she said it, like during COVID, the amount of people that messaged her and the amount that what has happened to now, she has an online store and she's not doing farmers markets this summer, and her business has increased. But that's a thing. So that's one example that I can think off the top of my head, that again, you can definitely see the success stories of social media. So that's what keeps me going, is the success of the business that you can see and the potential, the endless potential that exists.
So how would your business have changed during COVID?
So the funny thing is, I know for some businesses that it definitely decreased, that they were now at home and they're like, I can't sell, I can't do my business. And was it easy to do with a husband and a toddler at home? No. But what happened, and what I didn't realize, was that I had a lot of skills that I just assumed other people had. And I know what happens when you assume, but I have been using Zoom and online platforms and doing teaching and everything online for years now. But I never realized that other people just simply didn't know how to even, do a Zoom call, or weren't on Facebook, or weren't on Instagram, or whatever it was. And now they had to be. So the demand in my industry actually increased during COVID. And I started teaching online with the workplace education, which was never taught online before. And now we moved it online. I did a bunch of workshops for Volta and for Ignite. And I'm about to do some for Save the UNU. And I just got a new message for another province to do some workshops, because they're now realizing that people may have a little bit more time for training, but they also need it more than they used to. So my industry actually increased, and I wish I could have cloned myself, or that I could have had help. But we made it work. And yeah, that's the big thing. Like, I definitely am happy that I did jump 2 feet in and my whole body in over 5 years ago, because I didn't have to do that switch or that pivot that people said. I literally continued with everything that I was doing, and I'm now way more comfortable on camera than I ever was, because I was forced to.
So when would you say your aha moment that this is what you were meant to do happened?
I think it would have been at that networking event, which was SEC. So we used to call Sip Chat Connect, and existed. And that's one of the places that I networked quite a bit when I started. And yes, it was meeting different people that were like, oh man, like, I know that I need this, but I don't know how. You're the person that needed to teach me this. Oh, you made it simple. You're not making it complicated. So that was definitely my aha moment, was definitely in the first year. And my motto from day one has been, let's build our businesses together. So I work a lot with local businesses, because I want to see their business increase and to their business grow. And then at the same time, I want my business to grow, because I'm helping them. And they are then, they're then telling their friends or whatnot, like, oh, who's been able to help you? I see the difference on your social media. I see that you're more active. I see that you're engaging more. Where did you learn? And that's how things have kind of happened for me, has been the referrals from my current clients, or people that I've done some coaching with, or that I've attended one of my workshops. So I still do some networking, and I do some advertising, but my advertising is what I do daily. It's my posts that I do on my social media. It's my videos. And I know I need to do more, but that's my type of advertising for now. And that's where my business has come, because I've built a reputation for myself, hope, and goodfully a positive one. And I get the referrals now. And then obviously social media does work, because I have some people that are finding me just on Google, because I have my Google page verified. And then I have some people finding me from, for my SEO, for my blogs, and for my newsletter and whatnot.
Well, I know you've been a great resource of social media for myself. What inspired you to teach that craft? I know we've been touching on that, but why wouldn't you keep that to yourself, your secret sauce, and just explode yourself?
I'm from Cape Breton, and I think most of us know that we like to give back, and we tend to over deliver and under promise. And then we tend to just want to give everything away for free. So the big thing is right now, and you would know this as being in the same profession, as much as I would love to help hundreds and thousands of companies, I'm a one-person show with a little bit of help. But again, I don't have a team of hundreds of people. So I can only help so many people, because there's only so many hours in the day. So I find that, again, as a company, your passion for your company, I will never have that passion. I can tell you the tips. I can give you the tricks. I can tell you what platforms to use. I will never have that passion, and I will never know your story as well as you know your own story. So now I've really turned back to, yes, I still do social media management, because there still is companies that need it, but I love to teach, because I will never have that passion. So if I can teach the small business owner and the entrepreneur and the freelancer how for them to do it themselves, then it helps out. It helps everybody out. And I find, again, when I am doing a lot of these teachings and a lot of these coachings, yes, sometimes I need to put in the work to do the work, the PowerPoint and whatnot. A lot of times I don't even need to prepare for it, because it's stuff that I do daily. I walk the walk. So if I'm teaching you how to use Facebook, it's because I've been on Facebook all morning. If I'm teaching you how to use Instagram, I've been on Instagram all day. If I'm teaching you how to do stories, it's because I've done the research, because I want it for my own feeds, and then I want to teach you how to do it for your own feeds. So that's the thing. So social media management is great, but I have, I think, 6 full-time clients right now, and I probably couldn't handle much more without help, because I don't want to be on my phone 24 hours a day. I still want to experience life. And I'm not going to lie, like, there's certain industries that I decide not to work with because they are 24 hours a day. I don't want to be dealing with a crisis at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, which some industries have to do that.
No,
So
I definitely agree with that. The teaching of the social media is, I know there's some people that don't want to learn it because they're a little bit older and they want to use it for their business benefits, which is where the management is great. But yeah, teaching a small business is much more powerful than actually just doing it for them. I love watching when we teach how their business just expands and then their passion for their business reignites. It's like they lost that passion and then it's come full force. And like what you said, I can't have that same passion because I did not start that business.
exactly. And I find for many people, they don't know what to say. So a lot of times, like, it's good to sit down with them and brainstorm. What is your story? Why did you start? Why did you continue your business after 20 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is? And a lot of times you need to pull it out of them because they're like, well, I have nothing to say. I don't have anything to post. And then you're like, well, why did you post this? Well, I didn't think of it. Like, I'm a walking ideas person. Like, I brainstorm in my head, and I could probably come up with ideas in 5 minutes that somebody might take them, forever. Because I can look at any business and be like, well, you can post about this or this or this. That a lot of people don't think that way. And sometimes, again, it does take that coach or that teacher or whatever you want to call the person to get it out of you to be able to tell your story.
I know my favorite thing is asking, why did you post this there? Well, people told me I had to post 6 times a week and I had nothing else to do. So I just put it up there. Like, well, no, you have to have a little bit of thought behind just posting your daughter having a poop somewhere.
Yeah, I definitely recommend quality posts over quantity posts.
Mm-hmm.
Days of posting 10 times a day on Facebook is gone, and I love that. I still do post on a regular basis, and I still do post probably daily on most of my accounts, but I've been doing that for 5 years. But I love, even for myself, that I can now not feel guilty if I don't, because I'm like, I don't really have anything to say today. There was nothing I wanted to push. And sometimes on those days, if I'm not putting my own post out, that's when I will go and find something from a colleague or an expert or somebody else to share of something happening in town. And that's one thing, since COVID's happened, I've definitely slowed down on weekend posts for most of my clients. I now have some clients that have reopened and they are in the tourism industry. So those accounts are posting during the week. Like my lawyer, we're not posting during the weekends. Even my own feeds, I'm posting a lot more of like things that are happening. So I've been helping with Reopen City Halifax. So the last few weekends, that's what's been on my personal post over the weekends, because that's what I'm doing. Like, we're exploring more beaches and more local and more downtown restaurants and whatnot. So that's what I'm posting during the weekends. And I think that's okay. But yeah, I definitely think you need to have a plan and you need to thoughts instead of just throwing something on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is, because you've been told that you should post.
Exactly. So what's something people seem to misunderstand about you and what you do?
Well, if you ask my parents what I do, I'm not sure they could tell you that. And I've been in business for almost 6 years. So I think a lot of people again, it's really funny because you'll read my blog post that I'm writing out for Tuesday, and it's exactly this. A lot of people don't realize what a social media manager does, and they don't realize that there is a person behind the feeds. So during all this with COVID, and Nova Scotia has been hit a little rougher than most people in the last 3 or 4 months, and we've had these conversations, that a lot of people have been like, I've just stopped looking on Facebook and I've stopped looking on whatever because I just can't take it anymore. As a social media manager, you can't do that. So it's been very hard for me. Like, if I've had my family or somebody message at like 8 o'clock at night just wanting to talk, and I'm like, I don't want to be on my phone anymore. I don't want to look at it. I've had to deal with it enough today. And the thing we have seen during COVID, the COVID crisis, is a lot of people are reacting in ways that they wouldn't have otherwise. So they are backlashing on a simple post that there should have been no reason to backlash. And they kind of forget that there's a person behind it. Whether it's that specific brand that is dealing with it, there's still a person behind it. So I've had some posts that we have used for some clients that people freak out and are like, you're too close, you're not social distancing. Well, if you had looked at the picture very carefully, you can tell that a picture in front of a sunset with grassy area or on a bonfire wasn't taken in the month of April in Nova Scotia.
No,
but people were just overreacting to things. So that's one thing that I would like to kind of throw out to people, is to remember there's a person and there's a human behind it. So before you backlash and before you quickly reply to that comment or whatnot, remember there's a person behind it.
No,
so that's been the big thing that, for some clients, I've literally had to be like, picture credited, picture was taken in September 2019, picture was taken in whatever, just to make sure that you were trying to avoid any backlash that could potentially happen because of it. So it's been hard to decide what to post and what not to post, because I've said, like, the last 4 months now have been a little bit rough. So that's the one thing that people don't realize, is that it's not simply just posting to a feed. There has to be a plan behind it. There has to be thoughts behind it. The last few months, it's even been a lot more thinking of what word are you using? What words are you using to put out? Could it be used in another context? Could it be taken negatively? Are you offending somebody by saying something? So again, people have to realize that it's not just simply posting. And again, during all of these things that have happened, I've had to have way more contact with my clients to make sure that, for example, the mass murder that happened, I had to contact some clients. Were you or any of your staff affected by this? For COVID, were you or any of your staff, affected by this? Was there a death in the family because of it? So there's different things that people don't realize, that as a social media manager, that yes, I'm dealing with my own feeds, but I'm also dealing with other people, their clients, their employees, and whatnot. So there's a lot more that needs to be thought of than simply just doing a post on Facebook.
So is there anything about your journey that you would change?
I'd probably try to win the lotto a lot sooner. Not that I've won the lotto, but the one thing I guess for myself that I've learned is to charge my worth and know my worth. So a lot of people, even now, still don't see the value in social media and think that because it's free platforms, that you shouldn't have to pay money to post on Facebook or on Instagram or whatnot. So my rates are pretty set now. It's been 6 years, and I know that I'm still not charging as much as I probably should with all the work that goes behind it. Because if you were hiring a social media manager for your company, it would be anywhere from a $50,000 to $100,000 job. And as I said, I have 6 clients. They are not all paying me $50,000 a year. So that's the big thing. There is some reduced cost by outsourcing, because again, they don't have, to pay for my EI or pay for an overhead or an office or whatnot, but there is still definitely some expenses that I need to do. There's definitely some expenses that I have in order to be able to provide the quality of work that I provide.
I definitely agree with that. That is something that a lot of companies, when you're chatting with them, don't realize how much they should actually be paying for it. And when you give them prices, they're like, oh, I remember going into a couple of marketing companies, just mentioning what I was going to be charging. And they're like, that's outrageous. That's crazy. I'm like, no, it's not. If you break it down to all of these points and where it's reaching, go back to the days where you were putting your ad in the newspaper and on TV, and it's probably still cheaper.
And the thing is, I find too, like, for a lot of us, we have the issue, and not as much now, because again, I've definitely put my name out there and I have my expertise for almost 6 years now, but people will be hesitant to pay a freelancer, but then we'll go pay the agency double what I would charge them. So that's the big thing. So it's changing people's mindset, and that has definitely changed over the years. I've definitely seen a lot of growth in that aspect, that more people are being more open-minded about hiring somebody that works from home than going to an agency. So that's the big thing that I've definitely found. But pricing is definitely a big thing that has been a little bit harder, but I've definitely learned to say no a lot more. And the one thing that I've kind of put in the back of my mind is that every no opens the opportunity for the perfect client to come in, or the perfect opportunity to come in.
So because we're talking about social media, would you say it's a very competitive world? Would you say other social media managers are kind of, that's my territory, don't go there?
Yes and no. I definitely don't feel that way, because for me, I probably know most people that are doing social media in Halifax. And I've definitely learned over the years that I cannot manage everybody's social media accounts and train everybody in Halifax. So I think there's room for everybody. But I also do think that some people are territorial, for sure. I am one of those people that if somebody comes to me, I usually ask, like, are you working with somebody, or have you worked with somebody in the past? And if they are switching from one person to another, actually, I don't think I've ever gone from one person to another, in the sense that they were already done with a previous provider before they came to me. But I definitely think there is some competition, but there's a lot of people too that are new and that are coming in. So for me, with almost 6 years experience, again, some people say, well, I don't want to pay that. I'm like, that's cool. You go find somebody that doesn't have the experience. And a lot of times I'll have somebody come back. I'm like, well, they didn't do what you were doing. I'm like, well, yeah, that's why they're charging less. So that's the big thing. So people really need to realize what they're signing up for. And then I'm also seeing a lot, like I've been seeing this a lot, especially during COVID, people are doing, are putting a job proposal out there or a job application out there, and they want this person to do everything for like $30,000. And no, I'm not a videographer, and I'm not a photographer, and I'm not a tech person, and I'm not a really, like, even my husband yesterday asked me something about a computer, and he's like, well, you should know this. I'm like, I am not a tech person. I am a social media person. I was like, because of course I have a Mac too. So the Mac is different than a PC, and he had a PC and he wanted me to, I was trying to create something. And I tried the few ways that I thought of, and I was like, you're just gonna have to Google it. And he's like, well, I thought you would know this. And I'm like, no. I was like, I'm not a tech person. So that's what a lot of people don't realize, the difference in a social media like community manager versus a customer service manager versus a videographer versus a photographer. And I know a lot of us are doing more than one. We definitely wear more than one hat. Like, I can do websites. I don't promote that I can do websites because I don't want to do them, but I can. And I've had some clients in the past that I have updated their website and I've uploaded their blog posts as part of the package that they had with me. But it really depends what you're agreeing on and what type of work that you want to do. Like, I've definitely learned now that I have an assistant that helps me out. And if somebody asks me for newsletters, I recommend them to my assistant. She has her own freelance, she has her own company and her own work that she does. She helps me for a lot of things that I need. But again, if I have some clients helping, I direct them to her. And then I have the person who did my logo, Tara. So same thing. I've had people ask me for, can you do social media templates? Well, I could. It's not really what I want to do, because I'm just going to go on Canva and create them. Same way you could. That again, I have 2 or 3 designers in mind that I'm like, they can create something nicer for you if that's what you're looking for. So I'm big on referrals, and I think you know that. I'm big on referrals, and I'm big on working with other people that are doing the same things as me, because if I have a specific company that comes to me, whether it's an engineer or a real estate, those aren't industries that I want to take on right now. I'm big into the tourism. I am big into networking groups and business groups, events. Those are the ones that I thrive on if I am doing social media management. If I'm doing training, then I can do any industry. But if it means me finding the content for a plumber or for, heating company, not my expertise.
No, I definitely agree.
So I would recommend that to somebody else. I'd be like, hey, so a lot of new people that I meet, if they are doing social media, like, I ask them, do you have an expertise? Do you have a niche? Because if I get those people that are asking me, I want to know who's the best fit to recommend them to. And a lot of times these clients or these potential clients that I say no to very much appreciate if I'm giving them a name, because they don't have to do the research themselves. And I don't recommend somebody that I don't know. So if I would recommend somebody to you, Melissa, I've met you, I've known you, I know we've never actually worked together, but I've seen your quality of work. I know who some of your clients are, and I would feel comfortable attaching my name to your name. So I've had some people ask, they're like, well, can you recommend me? I'm like, I've met you for 10 minutes. No, I'm not going to recommend you.
No, I agree. I have to know who the other person is that I'm recommending. I don't like just getting messages, oh, well, all these social media managers, who can you refer? I'm like, well, it depends on what you want from them. There definitely is specialties. I think there's so much work, especially all over the world, let alone Nova Scotia, for the amount of people coming into this social media role. Because like you said, it wasn't around before. and it's just really starting to explode. We're seeing TVs pull back and do more streaming, and podcasts even doing more. Like, I think radio is probably on the way of how TV is to be streaming more podcasts.
Yeah, the amount of people that I've seen start a podcast during the COVID crisis, it's crazy. And I'm trying to keep up, but of course, like, I like to listen to podcasts in the car and I'm not driving.
I know.
So that's the big thing, right? Like, I would listen to podcasts all the time when I'm driving. And now, like, I literally drive my daughter to daycare, which is a 5-minute drive. So that's why, like, I'm like, okay, I need to, like, instead of having the TV on in the background, have podcasts on in the background, because I'm not leaving my house anymore.
So what advice can you give those trying to start their own social media company or small business wanting to, like, up their game with social media?
So the first thing that I would say is know the rules. I've had many people that have started a business and they're not aware of the Facebook terms of service, and they're not aware that a like and share contest is illegal. So know what the rules and regulations are. Be as up to date as possible on social media before you have somebody else paying you to do their social media. That's a big thing that I've seen for some people. And again, I don't know all the rules. I don't know them. Things change all the time, but keep up to date on what's happening. Keep up to date on the rules and the regulations. Keep up to date on the algorithms, because those change on a regular basis. And then I also would tell somebody, like, don't try to do it all. Find what you're good at and promote that service. Don't try to be a jack of all trades, because you're just going to burn out. And then people won't know what you do anymore. And they won't know, like, again, I think they do this, but I'm really not sure. So I would say, like, take the courage, take the risk, do it. I don't regret being my own business and being an entrepreneur. I absolutely love it, but it also takes a specific type of person, because you need to be a person that is self-motivating. Nobody's telling you to get up out of bed. Nobody's telling you that, this is due whenever. Like, you set your own rules, you set your own time frames and stuff. So you need to be a specific type of person. So I definitely recommend that, again, make a schedule and then find your people. Find people that you can go to. When you work somewhere and you have your people that, we take our breaks at the same time and we go to lunch together and we go around the water cooler at the same time. Find those people. And you can find them online. So whether it's having Zoom conversations, whether it's having a phone call, having a coffee, when and if we can, find your people that you can talk to about whatever. If you're having a good day or if you're having a bad day, that you can talk to somebody and they're not going to give you backlash for it, and they're not going to criticize you for it, and they're not going to tell you that you're a failure because of it. Because as an entrepreneur, you have amazing days and you have, part of my language, crap days. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on your podcast. But you will have some amazing days, and you will have some days that you're like, why did I do this? Because it happens. You will have that client that screams at you for no reason. You will have a day or a week that you put out 10 proposals and they all come back as no. You'll have weeks that you put out one proposal and it's yes, and it's the best client that you could have ever had. So that's my advice to people, is take the good days with the bad days, and then just be open-minded that things are changing and that you have to be open to change, and then you have to be open to learning and open to criticism, because everybody's going to criticize you. I'm sure that I've been criticized for things that I've done.
That's great advice. What projects do you have coming up?
So I've been working a lot online. So I have a course that is just finishing up next week. So that's been a big project for the last 10 weeks. So I've been working on that. The next big things that are coming for me is a membership group for social media and for small business owners, and how to network online. And probably in 2021, an online course. This has been definitely things that I've been working on. But I'm the person that, the more that I sit down and think, the more ideas that I come up with, and the more that there's only 24 hours in a day. So I definitely have lots of things that are in the back of my mind. I'm just trying to see what's feasible and what's not. I do have a 2.5-year-old. She's at daycare now. We don't know how long she'll be at daycare because of COVID crisis. So that has definitely changed, but I have definitely moved a lot of my training online, and I know that I can do it now, that before I never had the confidence to do it, that I know that no matter what happens, my business will not tank, that I will continue to continue to thrive on what I'm doing, and I know that my clients are out there. So that's kind of what's happening for me. I have a private Facebook group if anybody's looking for training. And if anybody's ever lacking ideas of what to post, 5-minute conversation with me and I can give you like 10 ideas or more, because that's just how my brain works.
So on that note, where can people find out more about you?
So I can be found online anywhere as K Social Media Consulting or K Social Media. So on all platforms. Well, I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok. I'm not one of those. I'm not dancing on TikTok. So the main platforms that I'm on is Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I have a Pinterest account. Mostly we're talking about food on Pinterest. I know I need to do a little bit more on it. I have a TikTok account, but I'm not using it. So those are the main platforms that I'm using. So K Social Media. If you want to follow me for the local aspect of what we're enjoying locally, at Kerra Aucoin on my Instagram and my stories. That's where, again, you'll see my daughter and my tips for being a parent and having kids. And I also have a blog called Eat, Drink, and Be You, which is more of our lifestyle. There hasn't been a new post in that for a while. And then with K Social Media, I have a blog post and a newsletter that goes out every second week.
Yeah, definitely. You're not the only one with TikTok things. I think a lot of the world is holding back on TikTok as countries start banning TikTok completely.
I've been hearing that again. So maybe it was cool that I didn't put my energy into it if it is going to start being banned and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, because that has been around for a while. Like, a lot of people don't realize that TikTok used to be called Musical.ly. So it's been around for a while. They just keep on changing the name. So I don't think it's going anywhere.
No. So lastly, who inspires you?
So there's definitely lots of people that inspire me, whether it's people local or, more in the non-local world, but in the social media world. So one platform one group that I follow quite a bit is Social Media Examiner. So that's where like all the experts are. They're the ones that put on the Social Media Marketing World Conference that I've gone to 3 times now in San Diego. So I follow a lot of those people that are part of their team. Jen Herman is one that I follow. Jen was supposed to be here for Social Media Day Halifax, but COVID kind of kept her from this year. So Jen is an expert for Instagram, and I absolutely love her. She's a private group and whatnot. She's a few groups that I belong to that she's in. I love Rachel Hollis. I know some people are not Rachel Hollis fans, but I love with what she's been able to create with a high school degree and, tools of YouTube. So I went to her conference in March, right before all this started. So I really like that aspect. Locally, I always follow Anita. Anita's, I want to say, like, pioneer in our industry. She's been doing it for the longest. She's a great friend and a great person that I can go to if I have questions or if things aren't working. I love what she's doing. And yeah, so she's definitely one of the local ones that I follow for sure. Also in the social media world, I love following Ross Simmons. Ross has been doing that for a while too, and has his own company, has been doing well. And one of my mentors, which is not in the social media world, is Mary Jane Cox. So Mary Jane's been a mentor for me from day one, because she was actually my interim sales manager when I was at Metro Red Publishing. And she's one of the people that kind of pushed me to do my own thing. So I love Mary Jane. I don't see her as often as I do. But same thing, she started a membership group during all this, and I think she's doing great. So those are the people that I definitely look up to. There's lots more. So again, if I didn't mention you, it's not because I'm not following you. I love following Mena and Caitlin.
Well, thank you for coming on the show today.
No problem. Thank you. Sorry, you caught me as I was taking a drink of water.
No worries. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Raise the Anchor, brought to you by Killick Media. Remember, you can join our email list at killickmedia.com and subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss the next episode. Don't forget to rate this episode as well. I'm Melissa Burbridge, wishing you smooth sailing.